Hey ghouls, so I got a lot of new friends on my Facebook and most of them are mothers, so if this isn't a video that you'd like to watch, I'm sorry it's not like my regular videos. I wanted to do a video about children's books, kind of from the more creepy gothy side, and for Halloween lovers like myself and my children. So starting from more baby books, Room on the Broom has been one of my children's favorite books, especially Evelyn. Evelyn, every broom to her was a witch's broom. So they also have a little video on Netflix of this, and I believe the same person who drew the illustrations inside of these books helped with the video. So the artwork is lovely and it's very cute. The witch, as she goes on, she keeps losing things like her hat and a bow. And each time she loses something, an animal helps her find it. And she gathers all of these little animals on her broom. And then eventually, the broom breaks under the weight. And they fall. And a dragon tries to attack her. But the animals save her, and then in the end, she makes a new broom for them all to fit on, which is adorable. And both of my kids love this. I've read it to other children, and they really like it too. So this is a parody book that I find is better than the original. And this is called Goodnight Goon. Obviously from Goodnight Moon. And it's kind of a spooky, good bedtime story. The drawings are really cute inside. Both of these were pretty inexpensive, and I've seen them pretty much every Halloween being sold. So each thing they're saying good night to, and like good night werewolf, good night skull, and good night shoe, things like that. And obviously good night goon. And there's a little goon. So this is a great little parody book. I like it more than Goodnight Moon, and I think it makes a little more sense to me than Goodnight Moon, but maybe that's because I read Goodnight Goon before Goodnight Moon. Okay. So this, I don't know if it's going to be hard to find or not. I bought this at our local half price books. It's a box of little spooky tales. It comes in this nice little case. The reason why I don't know if these are going to be easy to find for you is because there is a copyright on the bottom that says 1996. I haven't seen these anywhere else, but I had to show you this because I love the little stories inside, and so do my kids. So obviously it opens up, and one of the things that I like to do with Evelyn is every time I get a book out, I make her close it and I tell her to lock it. And she loves doing that. So I will show you all the little books. Here is The Wizard's Lizard Blizzard, which is funny. And I like to do funny little voices for each of the characters. There's a Goblin King, and he makes the wizard do different spells. Apparently a neighboring kingdom is an elf kingdom, and he hates them for whatever reason. Maybe because he's a goblin. So he makes the wizard do a spell for bad weather, and he decides to make a lizard blizzard. It turns out that elves love lizards and that they're useful, and the Goblin King hates lizards. So at the end, everyone's happy. And this one is my favorite. Hubble Bubble Cauldron Shalu. This one is about a witch who wants to do magic spells to scare people, but all of her spells turn into food, and she's so upset. Her cat ends up telling her to just start a restaurant because she keeps making food. So she does. This is probably the more spookier of stories. I was actually worried that this book would scare my child, but apparently she's weird like me and loves it. And this is about, I guess it's supposed to be like a blood moon. It's saying like when the moon is full and bright and the sky above turns red. It's telling children to stay in their bed at night. That goblins come out and monsters. And they all dance. But they like to eat naughty children. And they tell you to listen and stay in your bed, or else they'll put you in a birthday cake. And she loves it. It's pretty great, and I think it's funny. But obviously, if your child is a little sensitive, I don't suggest you reading some of these. The last book, there's 4 books in the... I also want to mention that the pages really aren't cardboard like board books, but they're stiffer and less likely to rip, and probably easier for your child to turn. So this one's about a creepy castle, and it, you know, is warning you like there's a creepy castle out there. Don't dare go there, basically, unless you want to be scared. It shows like mummies and ghosts. Talks about there's vampires and mummies and giant rats and spiders. And it says, you know, we hope this won't stop you from coming. They'll give you cookies and cake. But don't laugh at them, because they've worked hard on being monsters. And then it says, at the end of the day, when all is said and done, ghosts, ghouls, and monsters just want to have fun. They're like having a party and dancing, which I think is pretty sweet. So last but definitely not least, both of my children are obsessed with this book. Their uncle gave this to them for Christmas, and he said that this was his favorite book as a kid. Grandpa's Ghost Stories. Apparently they put this out for print again. I think you can get it on Amazon. So again, if your child is sensitive, do not read them this story. However, if your kids love monsters and ghosts and stuff, like mine do, they're obsessed with this. I sometimes have to read it 4 or 5 times a day. It's a longer book when it comes to books for children. I probably suggest reading this to a kid that's like 4 and up, but the baby who's almost 18 months loves this. So in this book, it's stormy. It's a stormy night, and this child is scared of the storm. They're at their grandpa's house. And grandpa's like, I want to tell you some scary stories. It might scare your pants off, but the child begs, like, I want to know what happened to you. So first he talks about how he got lost in the woods and he found a shack in the woods with a bag of bones. And he puts the skeleton together and it comes after him. And then he runs and he enters the cave of a warty witch. The witch has a bunch of spiders and turns him into a spider. So that's what happens. And she turns him into a spider with a wishbone. The witch goes to sleep. And he turns himself back into a boy. And then he meets a ghost. And so on and so forth. I guess if you want to read this book, I won't ruin the end for you. But in the end, Grandpa kind of makes it out like all of this really happened. And they say that, you know, if you meet a goblin under your bed or a spook in the hall, it's only going to be him because he used the wishbone to make him a monster. So I guess kind of trying to say, you know, all this stuff isn't real, but then the way it does say things sometimes throughout the book is, I guess because it's an older book, is kind of a little gory in a way, but not too terrible. Like they say he came across the house of the ghost and it was made of mud and blood and old bones. And now my daughter says things like that, like, oh, it's made of mud and blood. So it's just funny. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know I liked making it. I really do enjoy children's stuff along with like spooky stories and Halloween things. So if any of you other moms out there want other videos that are similar to this, let me know and I definitely will make them. Bye!